Professor Simon Mabon. He's a Middle East analyst at Lancaster University in the UK. Thanks for being with us. Simon, Israel and Hamas are under huge pressure to approve the UN-backed ceasefire proposal for Gaza. What's your assessment of the likelihood of this deal actually getting done?
Well, yeah, you're right to say there is huge pressure here on all sides. It is pretty clear from the UN making this commitment, its Security Council passing this resolution, that there is growing pressure on Israel, on Hamas, to actually get a ceasefire. And that's unsurprising given the scale of the humanitarian suffering, the scale of the devastation across Gaza. Now, the likelihood of it actually coming off, however, is, I think, pretty difficult to assess. The first phase of the plan, as you've just outlined, is perhaps the most probable and the most likely, but it gets far thornier and far more complex when we move into phases 2 and 3. And I'm particularly worried when we get to those stages.
Now, Qatar has been hosting these truce talks, and other Arab countries like Egypt and Jordan are involved too. How much influence, Simon, do these countries have in the negotiations, especially with respect to Hamas?
Well, it's about putting pressure on Hamas, and I think in the sense that Qatar has long been an ally, a host of Hamas, not necessarily a supporter, but they've been open to playing home to some of the Hamas figures like Khaled Meshal who've fled Gaza in the past. So it has a good deal of influence in that respect. And also, perhaps the more important thing is that it has the money. And Hamas is obviously particularly concerned about how Gaza is going to be rebuilt. The money has to be found somewhere, and the Gulf states, Qatar in particular, is going to have a big role to play. So I would imagine that Doha has got the ability to exert a good deal of influence. But it's not so much the Hamas side that I think is the concern here with regard to accepting this deal. We've heard key figures suggesting that they are willing to accept it. It's more on the Israeli side. I think that's where things get really complex.